to kind of touch on people that are here that aren't really into education and they don't have anything they can educate about. Trust me when I tell you, that is the wave of the future. Find a topic that you can educate because there's no better way of becoming an authority and getting your products out there through the education piece. Because once you control their email, you control what they see. So you can send them services, products, different blogs that you're launching, new social media posts, follow me here, follow me there. All of those things happen through you controlling their email. So whether you're launching a supplement or you're launching a skincare product or you're launching a t-shirt, doesn't matter. Find an angle that you can create education around. And if education is not on your map and you're like, hey, I don't want to create education, then there are other ways that you can potentially get your products out there through social media. But I will tell you right now that you're going to have to pay to play. You're going to have to run ads, and you can absolutely use ChatGPT to help you run ads. You don't need to hire a marketing company to help you run ads. So I have another panelist that said yes, and I was hoping she would, Dr. Andrea McSwain. And Dr. Andrea McSwain and I have been working together for so long. I'll let her kind of hop on and tell her story, but I've helped Dr. McSwain in a lot of different ways, ChatGPT being one of them. But I would definitely like it if you are available, if you can open your mic, Dr. McSwain, and just say hello to everybody.
Hi, good
Hey,
afternoon,
hey,
late
hey.
morning.
How's it going? My favorite human on the planet. Well, one of my
Oh,
humans on the planet. Anyways, how's things going?
we're making progress every day.
I love it. So for the listeners and the people that are here, tell everybody who you are, where you're out of, and what do you do?
Okay, I'm an osteopathic physician in Michigan. I run a clinic. Originally, we had 4 locations, and we just keep downsizing due to staffing and demands and this really intense toll of one-to-one. It's become quite obvious that with our infusion clinic and our med spa, that prices are rising, and due to some of the economics of our community, there's some caps that we have to recognize in truth for our business. So we have to shift gears to scalability. We have and course development and really getting people on a larger scale than we really can see one-to-one. The other thing is that we have a private label um, uh, products, several of them actually. We work with a wonderful skincare line. So we had a lot of things going on. And when we first started meeting with Jeremy, we were aware of ChatGPT and basically would ask it to like write me a letter and da da da. Da. But really, the capacity of using ChatGPT, it means I can create and edit. So strategize, create, and edit about 2 months worth of blogs in geo-targeting with a lot of parameters in many different areas in just a few hours. And that includes editing. I just did that a few weeks ago. So the fact that we can do all of our social calendars and our SOPs as well. And then the fact that we can start using virtual assistants to reduce costs and also really get some specific tasks completed so that it allows me to have less brain drain and more effectiveness with messaging actually, because I have a tendency to go all over the place. So
Yeah, you
that's
know,
my story.
we all do, and thank you for sharing that. And you know, I want you to touch really quickly on how we kind of got started working together because if you
Oh,
recall going back in time,
no.
you fought it a little bit in the beginning because you're like, I have a guy and the guy's doing his
Oh,
thing. And if you can just really quickly, just like 2 minutes, just kind of tell the initial story of how we started
oh,
working together.
so painful, but okay. So I was working on a local committee in my town, and we had hired a website designer. Really, she made a glorified flyer, but at least it looked good and it had some interest. So I asked her to do our website for the clinic, and she offered to do it for $7,500, and was going to put the shop in and all the features that we needed. And we got into it, and we let her go when our page transfer time, Jeremy, you're gonna correct me on that, was 40 seconds, which means we couldn't, once someone clicked on a supplement in our store, it took 40 seconds for it to go to checkout or any other thing due to her level of incompetence. And Jeremy, really encouraged me to go work with him on how he designs websites. And I pushed back because we were already in this contract. We'd already done photos with this person, it was a local person. And when we couldn't load a page in less than 40 seconds, I was, not in tears, but just really verklempt, at, where's my business going to go if this is going to go down the drain. And so relying on people that, said they knew what they were doing, and then it costing me an arm and a leg to do it. And finally, Jeremy's like, "You have to stop with this person." And I was like, "Absolutely." Like, I mean, I know you were through the roof with when you saw that. I'm sure you still remember
Oh yeah.
that, how aggravated you were because of the efficiency that you prefer, how you can streamline things, get stuff done, and keep working on being cost effective and lowering the overhead. And so, we switched to you. You were so gracious. We had a shop, on our way, and solidly on our way in a week, and really definitely confidently within a few weeks, with a lot of private label products and the skincare line. So that's that.
You
And
know, I really appreciate you sharing that story because I remember when you first told the story, you kind of were emotional because you went through a lot going to the pain of getting to that point where, you finally had something and it was loading so incredibly slow that people couldn't even wait to check out, right? They just left. So, again, obviously now it's bittersweet. We can laugh at it and we can, it was a long time ago, right? But logistically as a 3PL, we helped you in ways where, again, we took out of off your plate, you having to ship
Mhm.
products and you having to do all the things that you were doing in your practice, which really has elevated you to a whole new level because now you have all that time that you can invest in all the things that you're doing right now, right? Working with VAs for one, you had no capacity to do that a year and a half
Mhm.
ago, right? You were literally like stretched so thin that you had no capacity. And then the other side of it is again having to learn all these new things, like having
Mhm.
to learn marketing, having to learn all this stuff, go down that rabbit hole. You're a doctor, right? Like your world is so far left from marketing and sales and all of this side of the world, right? Your world is so far left of that you have to get uncomfortable and go learn something completely new. So again, I commend you for that. And I know you probably didn't come in from the very beginning, and a lot of the very beginning stuff was super, super basic and foundational. But have you learned anything since you've been on today?
Yeah, I see there's a few points that I documented, and I'll tell you what they are as soon as I pull them up. So I just have a note actually for Monday morning for me to address these things with some more of my staff. So one, I have answer engine optimization. When you're really looking at like how I use my searches now, that's what I'm doing. I'm coming to Google with a question, and I'm not sure that we're actually doing that with our websites to the point that we're actually being the answer. Um, and then two pieces of content daily. I think that's like you're putting the line out there. Like that's your landmark. Like do that. Don't ask questions. Nobody wants to do that. It just has to get done. People don't know. Oh yeah, people who don't know you is your audience. It's your best person to tell you what they think. And I love that because oftentimes we go safely into like our patients, like, would you love me to tell you about a hormone class? And they're like, oh, I'd love that. But that's not the people that haven't bought from me. I have to go to the people that haven't bought from me and say, you know, would you buy my hormone class? Like it was just a nice reminder because we get comfortable, and it's like you have to stay uncomfortable.
100%. I really truly appreciate you throwing those two golden nuggets out there, especially for a seasoned pro like yourself who's been working with me for almost 2 years. I really, really appreciate that. You're always learning. So one point I want to make, and you already kind of brushed on this. You kind of gave away this golden nugget. So most people go on Google or any search engine and they type in a question. How do I lose weight? How do I stop my baby from crying? How do I? Most people are typing in a how to question. Most people, if
Mhm.
not a question in general. And ChatGPT is a place now where most people are going asking these questions. But the point that you made was basically the golden nugget I was trying to convey. On your website, the truest way to utilize AEO is to one, state the question on your website in the
Mhm.
header. So state the question, and then the second piece is the most important piece. Provide the answer. That is what makes you put front and center on the map when it comes to AEO, because now you're checking off the box. Not only are you in perfect alignment with the question because you're asking the same exact question, but now you're answering it, right? Which makes you the authority. So that is a critical piece. And I'm so glad you pulled that out to talk to the team about on Monday, because I think that one piece right there is going to hit on the piece you talked about previously in our call, which was SEO.
Mhm.
SEO and AEO are kind of like almost conjoined right now. It's like two worlds colliding. So right now, there's going to be this transitionary phase that you're going to start seeing on all of the big websites, where you're going to start seeing questions being asked, and then the content is the answer. It's the solution for that problem. So the question's the problem, the solution is what you can do, right? So great,
Mhm.
great, 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 great point. Thank you so much for sharing that. Um, and I think for you, got kind of this afternoon going forward, and I'm going to keep you as a panelist as well. So
Mhm.
going forward this afternoon, we're going to talk about building out these, different agents that are going to help you do certain things and continue to elevate and delegate to your staff, right? Continue your staff of VAs kind of doing these performing these actions for you in the GPTs that you're controlling. And I'll tell you, and I've already told you this, but I'll tell everyone else, when Dr. Andrea and I started working together, she had a couple of VAs that she was
Mhm.
she had a couple of VAs that she was basically paying through a network. And I basically didn't know this until almost the end. And when I found out, I said, absolutely not. We need to get that off right now. You need to totally control these people, because if you're working through someone else who's working with them,
Mhm.
there's going to be a certain misinformation that gets passed along because of one, the
Mhm.
language barrier, right? And two, when you tell people stuff, they usually add their own pieces to it in translation to their team, right? So
Mhm.
that was starting to become evident for you, was it not? Like that was something that was becoming very evident, that you were not getting the things that you needed to get done within the time frame that you needed them done. And part of that was because you had zero control. So now you have full control. Now these people are your people. You're developing and building your own team. And what's really powerful about what we're going to talk about here after lunch, after you build these GPTs and you give them to one of your VAs, you no longer have to go to your VA and say, when I ask you to do this, don't do this, instead do that. You no
Mhm.
longer have to do that. Now you can eliminate that learning curve, because now you can go into your GPT and tell your GPT, anytime my VA is giving me content back, I've noticed that this is happening. I need to correct this behavior. I need this to be done instead. Now you don't even have to talk to the VA. You can literally just program the GPT to do what you need it to do, and you can have your VA performing the action, just doing the step and then taking that information and deploying it. Does that make sense?
Right. I think little cautionary tale there is, as a doctor, I think very conceptually. Obviously, there's a lot of details. It made me very bad as a VA boss. Give
You
Yeah, you are extremely talented, and because you can siphon off these tasks. But I was like, here you go, virtual assistant, like, kind of be part of me. Instead, what has shifted is now, I'm able to, like, this is your task, and ChatGPT really helps us with that, because instead of me saying, like, I don't know, let's just say something lame, like, help me with the blog, right? Instead, I build the blog and I say, put this on the website. And oh, by the way, do this every other, get these uploaded for every other day for the next 60 days, get my posts ready for the next 60 days. So there's enough work because ChatGPT facilitates the generation of that work.
Right. And that's exactly kind of like what I said when it comes to like automating flows and things like that. That's what you
Yeah.
want to be able to have your staff doing. Not so much creating the content. It's really just basically putting the content out there, deploying it, getting it
Hmm.
out to the world. Those are the tasks that they should be focusing on, not creating the blog. Because what will happen is they'll go in and create the blog and they'll give it to you and you'll say, wait a minute. This is missing. This is missing. This is missing. This is not right. This is wrong. You're going to go through it and pick it apart and only 20% of it will be fixed and you're going to have to do the other 80, so you might as well do it yourself. But the point here is that you can develop these agents and having your VAs deploying the work, right? So as you're creating all this work, it's like, hey, I need you to connect this into our Zapier so that as I'm creating these content flows, Zapier's pulling it into the calendar and basically launching it on the 1st of July, even though we're on the 21st of June, right? Like it's setting it on
Yeah.
a complete automated window. And thank you so much, Dr. Andrea, for coming on and for sharing. What are you building today? What is your goal today?
Well, yeah, I'm kind of in the milieu. Actually, if what I'm actually doing is for course outline, I'm doing a course outline, but I'm taking transcriptions and I'm cleaning them, and then I'm making a PDF to upload so that my course content is based on my conversations.
Ooh, I like.
And so I have the verbiage that I say that my patients say in the course to reduce the generic nature or create more authentic, however you want to phrase that, right? Be less generic, be more authentic,
Yep.
of my own phrasing.
That's amazing. That's actually really really awesome. And Adrian is raising his hand, so I'll let you ask your question. 1 second, Adrian. So I'll bring you back on as we come back from break and we build out these GPTs. I'm gonna give you guys the steps and outline how we're gonna make them super advanced by using the super prompt generators. So I'll kind of help you with that step by step as we go, and I'll kind of utilize what you're doing to kind of showcase like use case so people can kind of get an idea of how to make corrections when they need to. So we'll bring you back on once we get to that piece if you're okay with sharing.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Thank you so much,
Thank
Dr.
you, Amy.
Appreciate you. All right, Adrian, if you want to unmute, you can jump in and ask your question, bud.
Yeah, just real quick, it just that really prompted me to ask the question because most of the time when we're doing reviews and brain map reporting, we're recording it all on Zoom. Zoom now has their AI assistant, which basically provides a transcript. Do you feel like it would be beneficial to utilize information like that that's coming directly from our patients and clients to then create, these prompts to answer or create content or create coursework or just, things that could be beneficial? Is there ways to utilize that that's quick and not quick and easy, but just is there something out there that can be done to kind of simplify that process?
One more time with the question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so is there what you guys are talking about with this automation and just creating content and things of that nature, or is there something out there that you can utilize to, or is it ChatGPT where you're inputting, the AI summaries or the transcripts from these things to provide, just better information for people to look up and to have questions about?
Yeah, so to answer your question, that's actually twofold. So one, when you build the GPT, you're going to provide it. So if I come here to GPTs, and this is the what I said I wanted to kind of go through before lunch. So if you click on up here the plus sign that says create GPT, it brings you over to this screen here that's kind of split in half. On the left side, you have the configuration. On the right side is where you can test what you're building, similar to like ChatGPT, right? It has the start typing here, you type, you send your message. Now, if up here, if you notice, there's two boxes, create and configure. So configure is if you already have all of this information and you just want to plug it in, right? Notice this section here says knowledge. Conversations with ChatGPT can potentially reveal parts of, if not all, of these files uploaded. So you can upload files right here, Adrian. You can put in PDFs, you can put in images, you can put in any files, CSV files. You can click upload file, and it'll take you to your files so you can pick whatever files you want to upload. So let's say you've written a book and you wanted to use that book as a source of information for just creating your content in this particular GPT. You would upload that book right here where it says upload files. You would upload it, and then in the instructions right here, in the instructions, you would tell ChatGPT, I've provided you with a source of information as a PDF upload. Please only use my supported documentation to create my content, because now it's pulling only from the source of truth that you've given it. Any documents you put here, it's like you're basically giving it blinders and you're saying, hey, don't pay attention to the noise. Don't look out there for information when I'm giving you exactly what I want you to use. So maybe that's a Harvard business study, or maybe that's a clinical paper, that white paper that was just written that you found online that you can validate the source of truth from, and you download that and you bring it in here and upload it. You're going to basically tell ChatGPT, like, hey, I've given you a file and I want you to only use that file. One of my neighbors, Adrian, is an attorney, and I showed him ChatGPT 2 years ago. I showed him ChatGPT, and I built him his own personal GPT that is his now paralegal. He had 4 paralegals. He has 1 right now, who's more of an acting office manager than a paralegal, because he's built out all of these GPTs with case law around certain things that he needs. So he can just come in here and say, hey, ChatGPT, I got a customer who has this issue, this issue, this issue. Please give me the case law to support this. And it'll spit it out based on what he's fed it. So like, you can give it any data you want, any files you want. The only thing I would suggest is if you're uploading documents here, CSV documents or things like that, you turn this on, code interpreter and data analysis. Turn this on if you're giving it any type of documentation, if you're adding anything here, books you've written, PDFs, white papers you've written, blogs you've written, any type of courses you've created, anything that's yours that you have, you can come in here and upload it, and it will use that as a source of truth. Does that make sense, Adrian?
Perfect.
All right. Dr. Andrea, what kind of magic are you cooking up in the lab?
Oh my gosh. Well, the generate the GPT that I went with was the supplement scout. So
Oh,
how to at least get some structure for either an AI tool or how to integrate that with Shopify's live chat or chatbot rather. Chatbot. Some of my words are going to be a little
that's okay.
correct. Precisely correct, unfortunately. But the idea of, yeah, I mean, having maybe some staff support behind that a little, basically just like, why are you here? Kind of fun and casual. So it said, what kind of tone did you want? And I was like, friendly and casual. And what kind of restrictions do you want? And, do people need, what do you want them to ask? Or how do you guide them? And so I think that's just going to eliminate staff. And the other thing is, the clinic, I mean, hopefully someone will hear this. The clinic avatar in Michigan, at least, is a very general, like you said, kind of you get what you get dynamic sometimes as a doctor. But the scalability of the internet allows us to be very, very precise. In fact, I think it mandates that.
Right.
And so Shop VRX, which is my supplement store, is really general. And the more I'm honing into a very specific avatar, I think the better I'm able to use even Shop VRX. So that's another element that I want to put on it, is get my avatars complaints on the copy. And so then I also did one for skincare, because we have a skincare line that we use that we know and love, and feeding that information, but tailoring it to my avatar for my hormone course.
That is incredible. I really like that.
And the other thing too is throwing it out there for consults. I mean, I charge $365 for an introductory 45-minute consult. To some people, it's like a quick, how's it going? It's not an in-depth initial consult, but it's a hello, how going? And just funneling that person for skincare as well as supplements into my just book a call funnel to,
Mm,
um, and maybe it hits and maybe it doesn't, but as long as it's connected to the calendar, I'm going to be able to talk to someone for 45 minutes about their skin, the supplements, just really getting that touch point that there's a human element. People can pay for it. They can access the doctor, and it's good revenue. It's simple. It's easy. There's not the follow up. There's not the commitment.
mm. I
So
like that a lot.
yeah.
I mean, that's definitely scalable too. So, what kind of roadblocks did you run into as you were kind of building out? I know, like obviously, it's not all always what is it, rainbows and unicorns, right? So, what kind of roadblocks did you run into while you were building?
A specific roadblock that I ran into is that we have, I guess we have more than 60 products that are on our website.
Mm,
Really, when you think about the skincare and the supplements. So in order to get a bot that knows the products, we have to have a CSV file that actually speaks to the consumer, like are they capsules and what are the ingredients and so that there's a searchability, so that the person, the consumer can interface, and that's a limitation, right? That's so easy to produce, but it isn't there. So
mm.
it's not being forthright or not honest with the consumer, but more just like not, they don't know the product, and I'm not telling them about the product. So I need to tell them about the actual product sometimes too.
That's awesome. So you're basically adding all 60. What are you adding? The whole like the SKU, the supplement facts and the
Yeah.
sell-through sheets and the tech sheets and everything on the products?
Well, good question. And I think the main person I'm going to go after now is my avatar, because I'm going to hone in my original Shop VRX was for my patient base, but now my modified Shop VRX is going to be for my avatar, my online avatar. So very, very specific.
Got it. That's awesome. And how many files have you already uploaded?
Actually, I designated to my VA for Monday.
Monday. Got
Not
it.
doing that.
So
Crazy.
no, no,
They're
no,
not
that's
crazy,
okay.
but that's, what I'm saying? Like, I could sit here till tomorrow doing that, right? But
Yeah.
that's somebody else's job.
So here's the real value is after those have been uploaded, it's really kind of identifying the interaction and how you want to interact with those different files that you're bringing in. That's
Mhm,
really when the like I said before, the rubber meets the road. That's when things kind of get serious. Is when you're like, hey, I want you to hyper focus on this data set that I'm providing you with. So you want to be really, really, really clear about the
mhm,
instructions. So that will take a little bit of tweaking. You'll have to kind of go back and forth like an argument for a little while. But the whole point is that you have this now newfound control where you can go back and forth. And in your case, you've been doing these for a while. You've been building these GPTs for a while. But now there's again, a slightly different twist. So once we start kind of looking into the automation side of things, that's when things really get exciting. That's when things kind of really
mhm,
start to pull together because now all of these different GPTs that you're building essentially they're all agents. All of these agents have their own characteristics, their own instructions, their own behaviors, right? What
mhm,
we're going to be doing is we're going to be plugging each one of those sets of instructions. Once we dial them in, we're going to plug each one of those into an automation. So it's going to perform those tasks every single time the exact same way. It's going to become a machine. So again, step number one is to get these perfected. Play with them, build them, get them better. And then when they're at the point where you're like, this thing is producing some gas, that's when we make that fire raw. But for now, again, step number one is just what do you need to build? Identify that. Go into ChatGPT and ask it for help as to creating a set of instructions for you. Put those sets of instructions in. Number four is going ahead and actually giving it some documentation, give it some type of data. And if you don't have any data, it's okay. It's okay. You can actually build through utilizing other people's data. So you can always build with other people's data. And then what you can do is come back and say, fix this. I notice when I do this, this happens. But you need to play with it in order to know what needs to be fixed. And don't get frustrated. I'll be the first to tell you, I've broken plenty of computer keyboards. I've thrown plenty of mouses. I've definitely gotten pretty damn aggravated working with this thing, but I've learned to become patient. There's no time and space. Sometimes you have to go through the same thing a bunch of different ways because you're speaking a foreign language to it. It's trying to translate what you're saying and understand what you're saying and then speak its language and then come back to you. So just remember that. So, Dr. McSwain, one last question I wanted to ask you. Is that the only GPT that you built today? Is that the one you were focusing on?
Let's see. I
Did
did
you
a
have plans for others?
Yeah, I did I am looking at how to do the GPT for the skincare products as well. So I feel like the job, like I was just thinking about that job description, Pearl, about, give each GPT a job description and it'll be better. So the supplements are one thing, the skincare is another.
Mm.
GPT, so that I can funnel them a little bit differently because it's not the same, right? Like it's similar, but a supplement and a skincare product, they can be different enough in how they're handled and then kind of how the relationships converge and diverge. And I really liked this one, the Feel Better, Feel Great podcast companion GPT.
Mm.
Yeah, for listeners or course buyers, answers questions about episode content, recommends follow-up reading, supplements, or handouts, and then connects podcast topics to real-life conditions. So cancer, Lyme, metabolic health. I thought, oh, that's a really good idea. Well, my current podcast is very broad. It's getting some revision to hone in, but that's such a great, point of entry. Like keep building those different point of entries for people.
Oh
For
yes, I definitely agree with that. And I think it's a great foundation and keep thinking of different things that you could be kind of automating through building these GPTs because
Mhm.
that's the next step. That's the next thing coming is the automation piece. So keep kind of that on the back of your mind. But thank you again for sharing. I truly appreciate that. I think a lot of times people have questions, but they're just afraid to ask them. And then when someone comes on and basically says X, it's like, oh my gosh, I was just thinking that. Or some people don't even think it until you say it. And then it's like, why didn't I think of that? Right? Like, how come I wasn't thinking of that? So thank you for sharing that. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful working with you as always. Let me know if you need anything else, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. This has been amazing.
Awesome. Thank you.